Hi everyone, glad to see you here. My name is Alina, I am a sleep coach, and you're watching my Sleep Talk channel. Today is already a classic Insomnia Q&A episode where I answer your questions, some of the questions that come to my direct messages on Instagram or in comments, and I select the most interesting or common ones, or the ones that are frequently asked, and I just give an answer for other people who might also have similar problem with their sleep. And before I begin, I want to announce Sleep Talks letters. It is a newsletter that I started just recently, and the reason why I started it was because I was, some of you probably know that I was coaching on bedtime app, and the way I coach there is that I write really long responses, and usually I do it in my Google document. And recently I've been reviewing all the answers that I was giving, and they're rich with education, with some insights, analogies, and so on. And I felt that there is so much content, and I really wanted to give it like a second life. And I reached out to Daniel Erickson, the founder of Bedtime, and I asked for, if that would be okay if I could kind of like repurpose that content for my newsletter and just share it with more people. And he was he liked this idea, and he said that, yeah, I'll definitely go for it. So this is why I'm starting this newsletter. And how I'm going to do it is that I will be looking at my previous coaching notes, and will be taking out of it like the core concepts, some useful analogies, or any sort of education, and just kind of like editing in a way that it will can bring value to more people. So if you're interested and want to receive those, feel free to go on. I will provide the link to that in the description. So just put your email address, and you will be receiving some letters from me from once in a while. So yeah, I will be glad to see you there. And with that said, we can move on to the question. Today I have just one question, and it's from Christelle. I will read like the whole message, and after that will give my general thoughts on it. But again, I want to say that none of this is medical advice, so I'm just sharing my general thoughts and ideas. So let's go for it. Okay, hello Alina, hope all is good. I'm recovering from insomnia 4 months already, but fear did not fade away completely. I'm still till now fearing a lack of sleep due to the tiredness that I might feel the next day. A big event will take place this summer, my wedding. Congratulations. Looking forward to it with happiness, but thoughts of not being able to sleep the night before my wedding are emerging. Thoughts that I will be tired this day, and that I must sleep to avoid the lack of energy in that big day. What do you think about this? I'm choosing between kindness and courage. Do you think that taking a pill to sleeping well the night before is an act of kindness? I have an education, and I have been following the insights in January, but the process of recovery is a long one. It is definitely a long process, and I'm glad that you're already on this path, Christelle, learning and understanding how insomnia really works. And maybe for others who don't know yet, it's generally speaking, there is nothing out there that can produce sleep. That means that no tricks or tips or even sleep aid actually produces sleep. It acts more like a delegation. So we we take a pill and stop trying to sleep, and that lack of trying plus some partial probable sedative effect from the medication is what allows us to let go of control. And actually letting go part is something that enables sleep or allows sleep to come. And regarding this big days, I know this is a very common question, and many people have worries about that, and it might be that the big day will be somewhere far away in the future, or even just the possibility of having such day, can already trigger insomnia fear. And insomnia is basically like based on fear of not sleeping. It is nothing actual, that there is nothing else that stops us from sleeping but the fear itself. So I just want to say the first thing about having worry about like these kind of big days is that first of all, having sleep disruption before an important day is a very common thing, and it's actually not something that is only insomniacs can have. Actually, literally any person on the planet who is facing this kind of big event such as wedding or I don't know, like some exam or anything like that, will find it very very exciting, or very emotionally charged, that it can cause some temporary sleep disruption. And I just want you to know that this is absolutely normal, that if you find yourself being like more anxious or more excited the night before, and sleep might not be coming as easy as normally, and it's basically it doesn't really show that you're doing something wrong, or like you should not be excited, or you shouldn't feel all those emotions. It just shows that you really care about that next like the next day event, that it's really important to you, and there is nothing wrong about that. And the second thing is just this kind of like a second layer to that thing. So first, it is normal if you have trouble sleeping before an important night. It is not really an insomnia. It is something that anyone can experience, even people without insomnia. But then our memory of insomnia and having experience with it can create this kind of second layer of suffering. Is when the memory of that not sleeping triggers this hyperarousal response, and we begin to feel like we need to protect ourselves from that. So there is like initial trouble sleeping, and then there's fear about that trouble sleeping comes into an action, and this is where we can feel even more kind of like hyper aroused. I think it's important to realize those 2 points, because oftentimes like we feel normal people should have no problems with sleeping, but in reality that's not true. Literally anyone can have sleep disruption, and excuse me, and it is completely normal if that happens. So and the beauty of it, that once we understand that something is normal, something is kind of understandable, this is when the brain kind of feels safe, because it feels the brain feels threat only with things that are new, that are somehow like unknown, or scary. But when things are clear, understandable, and you know where it comes from, you know what to expect from it, naturally you feel more at peace. So the bottom line here is that we need to become comfortable with the possibility that sleep might be disrupted before important days, and it has a reason why we might be, it's even expected that we might have problem sleeping before wedding. So just getting in touch with that idea, and really in touch with our emotions around this idea can be really helpful. Now, of course, if we try to protect our sleep, when we know like, okay, we will have wedding in a couple of months, and then we try to kind of like prepare all our resources, make sure that we don't have trouble sleeping. This is what will create the paradoxical thing that we will not be actually sleeping. So I would say like being mindful of those kind of attempts to protect sleep, and reminding yourself that no matter what you do, sleep will still come on its own terms. It will come whenever the brain, the body feels safe, and we don't really have control in that process of falling asleep. So with that said, I think it's really kind of like important to also realize that even if on that day the speed bump will get, like you will get triggered, and the speed bump will start, the truth is you can get through this. You can get over it because you did it so many times in the past. That proves that you can handle even this speed bump. Even that on the wedding day you will have like trouble sleeping, and it could be from pure excitement, or it could be like excitement mixed with this kind of like hyper arousal around like not being able to sleep. Even though you will be okay, no matter what, no matter how you sleep. So like knowing that from your personal experience, maybe looking back in the days when you also had similarly like important day, and you had trouble sleeping before the day, and then you can say, well, what happened after that day, and if you see that, well, I actually could get over it, is a proof that you can also overcome this one as well. And the last thought I want to give here is that actually this kind of like the second part of the question from Christelle is that like choosing between kindness and courage, and one of the ways how she thinks that like what can save her on that night before or that day is that taking like a sleeping aid. And this is where many people can feel conflicted, because on one hand, obviously, if you try to make yourself asleep with with any supplement, with anything, it's a sleep effort, and that means that it kind of contributes to fear. But on the other hand, what is also important is to stay kind to yourself, and really not kind of push yourself towards something that you obviously don't have energy on, or you're too scared. And in such cases, this kind of self-compassion can be really useful. So then the question is like, should I take pill or I shouldn't? Is taking a pill a kind of way to show like this self-compassion, or is it a sleep effort? And I just want to say here is that it doesn't really matter what you will do. Like literally our actions as such will not change the way how sleep works. Sleep will always come on its own terms. We cannot predict when it comes, how it comes. It simply does, and we are not even aware of that moment when it happens. So anything before that is completely up to you. And I find it really useful with that kind of awareness, being aware that nothing can actually produce sleep except your own body, and you don't really have control in that process. With that kind of awareness in mind, you can literally choose to do anything that you feel like doing. So exploring this freedom. So if you feel like like sleeping aid can really help you get through that kind of like difficult period of time, because it is difficult and exciting at the same time. So if something that can be seen as an act of self-care, then there is no problem with it. But there is no conflict, because you do it with full awareness that is not going to impact your sleep, but you do it because it makes sense to you right in the moment. And this is what can truly neutralize the sleep effort. So I hope that this was useful and answered and clarified some moments with this kind of like scary big days, and how to handle nights before. And it doesn't matter if it's a wedding, or if it's a presentation, or if it's like having an early flight or whatever, anything. I just being mindful that you can provide yourself that comfort, and with awareness, with keeping in mind that kind of like baseline that sleep is beyond our control. You can choose, really, you can provide any level of comfort that you need. So I hope that makes sense, and I really want to thank you for listening and watching this video. And I want to say special thanks to my Patreon members, and really if you feel like supporting my channel, supporting what I do, you can consider also to become a Patreon member. And this way you can also like kind of contribute to regular posting and publishing of my content, and also suggest what kind of topics are more interesting for you and you want to learn more about them. So feel free to do that, and thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.